Today we're going to talk about all the books I gave 2 stars. I'm not calling this the worst books of the year or whatever because they're not the worst books. I just did not enjoy them as much as I thought I would or whatever. So I'm just going to call them all the books I give 2 stars to. What's up? I hope you're good. Yes, you can see some of the books here. Please don't be visible. As I just said, I'm just gonna go through all the books I give 2 stars to. It's not an attack on the author. It's not an attack on you if they were your favorite books. It's not an attack on anyone or whatever. It's just that they were 2 stars for me because I did not enjoy them. That's it. That's really it. So please don't come at me. Let's go by chronological order kind of thing, but the first 2 stars of the year was actually a surprise because I expected to love that book and I barely read it with me, and me felt exactly the same thing, and it was the Elysium Girls by Kate Pentecost. It's like in the middle of a desert and people are like riding mechanical horses or whatever. There is some kind of magic going on in there, but it was just so weird. Like so many times I was there, that doesn't make sense. And you know, in a book like fantasy whatever, usually it kind of makes sense. It doesn't make sense compared to reality, but in the world we are reading about, it makes sense. But here, so many things did not make sense, and so many times I was just yelling at the characters. It doesn't mean, like, no, don't do that. It doesn't make sense. And they were characters I really did not enjoy. They were characters I didn't see the point of having them or whatever. So I really did not connect to the books. Oh my gosh, this is not a rant, okay? I was just like so disappointed in that book because I expected to love it. I'm still gonna keep it and not unhaul it because I really do love the cover, and it was a buddy read, so it makes it a bit special. So the second one is this one, The 10th Girl or whatever. I don't think I have understood what was going on in this book, and when it happened, I just found it super gross, and I was a bit like disgust of what happened here, and not just like scared because it's horror-ish whatever. Like a haunted Argentinian mansion, a family curse, a twist you will never see coming, welcome to Vaquero School. I was just like, no. Then The Keeper of the Lost Cities I gave 2 stars to because I felt like it was a bit too much for some things, but it kind of makes sense, but the way it was done was not like the best way for me, whatever. But I'm gonna be rereading it for the Keeper Along because yes, I'm part of the read along for that series, and I will see how different it is, like how different the second, third book, blah, 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 are. So I expect to love it a bit more now. Then we have these 2. So I gave 3 stars to the first one, author of Blood and Bone or whatever, but these were 2 stars. One I did not rate, so I cannot remember. The last one is this one. I did not rate it on Goodreads because at this point I would have the end of the series, so I just kept going, kept reading for the read along or whatever, but I did not enjoy it. But I did not rate it on Goodreads because as I would have DNF'd it wouldn't be fair to actually rate the book on Goodreads. It was definitely not for me. I think it was the urban fantasy in it that I was not into, like the mix with, like, I don't mind angels in other stories, but in this one, as it was like the focus, maybe that's why I did not enjoy it as much. But I love the portal fantasy that we had, like specifically in the first book, with the main character traveling from one world to another because she has 2 identities, let's say. But here it was more like romancy and the war, but the war did not make sense to me. I did not enjoy it, but I still saw many beautiful moments, many beautiful dialogues and texts that the author wrote, but it was just not for me. Then we have A Torch Against the Night, then Reaper at the Gates, and then A Sky Beyond Storms. All 2 stars for me. I finished them, so that's why 2 stars, and I don't think there was anything problematic with them or whatever, so that's why not 1 star. I would have DNF'd that series if it wasn't for the read along. I absolutely hated that series. It was not for me. I loved the first book. The first book was a 3 stars or 4 stars. Really enjoyed it because of the spy aspect of it, and you know, survival and rebellion and whatever, and hiding your identities in order to get something or whatever. But the rest of the series I completely lost interest in it. So yeah, but I kept reading them but not reading them on Goodreads. Then after loving Ready Player One, I give 2 stars to Ready Player Two. That ending, I was just disappointed. But that's usually how I feel with series when the first one is so good and I expect the same for the second one and it doesn't deliver. That's what happened with this one. I would still recommend Ready Player One. I would still recommend this one as well. It's more like a 2.5 or whatever because I expected something different, you know, from the characters and the world and the ending, etc, etc. But I still really enjoy the world and I still really hope that one day we'll get that. I know it's an unpopular opinion to say that I want to live in another reality, virtual reality, but this is something that's gonna happen at one point. We have just no choice with it. It's gonna happen. So I hope we just learn from the very beginning how to do it in the best way possible and not focusing on either like the money or, you know, the mental health has to be something very important in it, etc, etc, whatever. But I'm in love. That's why I love sci-fi, because usually sci-fi is possible while fantasy is not possible. So sci-fi is something that I really enjoy. But yeah, never mind. A Voice So Bold and Deadly. I read the first one, it was a 5 stars. I believe the second one was a 3 stars, 4 stars maybe, and this one was a 2 stars because I was completely bored. I didn't care about anything. So many things did not make sense. So many things at the end made sense, but I completely lost interest by halfway through the book. So I was like, what's the point even at this point? I just didn't care. I don't think, like, apparently the author is writing another series inspired by this world or happening after or following another character. I don't know. I will definitely not be continuing with it because I'm not intrigued anymore. I really love the first one. The first one was so good. I read it in one night. I didn't sleep or whatever, but the rest of the series was just like disappointment for me. Mexican Gothic, also 2 stars because I expected something completely different from it. I will link like the live show down below if you have read it, but I was just bored. I expected things to happen earlier in the book and not like the big revelation at the end or whatever. I expected the horror in it to be like crescendo, but it was at one point crescendo, but I would have loved it to start like a bit earlier or whatever. It is a type of horror that's more like gross and that has something in it. I cannot say that genre because can I? No, I cannot. But it's not like a bloody horror, like etc, etc, but you will ask yourself questions because you will get lost at one point, you will not understand what's going on, etc. But I didn't vibe with it, if that makes any sense. I just expected something way harsher, way harder, way darker than it actually was. So yeah, and that's it for all the 2 stars I had in 2021. Let me know of one of yours because I'm always curious to know. And yeah, if you loved these books, it's absolutely fine. I'm so happy for you that you actually love them. It wasn't the case for me, and we shall see how 2022 is gonna be, if we're gonna get like many 2 stars as well, many DNFs or whatever. I don't mind DNFing books. I love that because it helps me clear my TBR and it helps me like just delete some books I'm not interested in anymore and to just like blah blah blah. I don't know why I keep bubbling, it doesn't matter at this point. But yeah, that's it was. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be a part of the pack. Talk to me in the comment section as usual, and until next time, take care. Bye.